The horses are now nearing the starting gate. And they're off. As the field comes into the stretch. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Aqueduct. A sunny Thursday here at the Big A. Temperature will approach 50 degrees. The main track is fast, the turf courses are good, and there are no portable rails in use today on either the outer or the inner. We have a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6, and that carryover is $32,116. Here now the changes for today's 9-race card. An overweight in the first, number 4, Gabby's Golden Voice, is 1 pound over. In the second race, scratch 1, Mike's Girl, 3, Elegant Zip, and 5, Princess Fawzia. Scratch 1, 3, and 5. There are no changes in the third and no changes in the fourth, and the fourth race starts the Empire 6. Correction, we have an overweight in the fourth. Number 6, Our Country, will be 1 pound over. In race 5, note that number 4, Dancing Kiki, will run with a hood again, and scratch the also eligibles 13, Home by 7, through the 16, Crick. Scratch 13, 14, 15, and 16. In today's 6th race, we have these scratches. Scratch 1, Soul Candy, 2, Amano, 6, Corkman, and 10, Magic Mojo. Scratch 1, 2, 6, and 10. In today's 7th race, scratch the 1, Felix and Fabula, part of an entry. And note that number 8, Runabout, runs with a hood again. In today's 8th race, scratch 13, Shandian, through the 16, Roll with My Posse. Scratch 13, 14, 15, and 16. And in the 9th race, scratch 2, Empress Luciana, 4, Lemoncello, and 10, Live in 5. Scratch 2, 4, and 10. And number 6, Ramon, runs with a hood again. Main track fast, turf course is good. Empire 6 jackpot carryover, $32,116, and we will have a mandatory payout here at Aqueduct this coming Saturday. We'll be back at 11:50 to recap the changes. Today's first race post is at 12:20. Up next, the Thursday edition of Talking Horses with Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. He is the Big A, Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling, and welcome to another week at Aqueduct. We could start our full week. We're on the turf. We're good. We're fast and good. Had that rain on Monday?
Monday.
What's today, Thursday?
Yep.
So, how you doing?
Another 13 hours. I'm good. I'm
Glad
good.
to hear it.
Ready to
Anything
roll.
interesting
Cigar
happening in your
Mile,
life?
2 days away.
Yeah.
Cigar Mile, that's what's happening. I'm a big, one of
That's
my
it?
favorite races
That's
of the
all
year.
that's happening in your life?
I mean, you know.
Nothing else interesting you want to go over? It's been a few days. You know, I thought maybe the fans would want to hear something about what's going on in Anthony Stabile's life. Good,
No.
nothing apparently. So you need to head over to Naira Bets. But Anthony, you can't say I'd give you a chance. You're not a member of Naira Bets. Head over to nairabets.com for more information. If you're not a member, sign up. Use promo code MATCH200. We will match them to $200 of your initial deposit. Keep the money in the game. Support racing in New York. Play through Naira Bets. Also, we have that Cigar Mile Challenge. And that is this Saturday. $500 buy-in. It's not the normal $250 contest. All cash prizes. 2 2021 NHC seats on the line. I want to say that's this summer.
I believe it's
Tamara told me
August
it was
this
like
year.
August?
Yes.
Yeah. Right, so that'll be this Saturday. Register now, naira.com/challenge. You normally have until 5 o'clock on Friday to sign up for that. I imagine this one is no different.
It is not different.
Also, what else do we have for you? Oh, Thursday's back. 2% rebate if you play through the app and the app only. All of your bets, you're going to 2% rebate through Naira Bets. Give back Thursday, another reason to play through Naira Bets. Andrew, we're going to be on for a little while, so you're not going to be able to help me here. Okay, so anyway.
Maybe he wants to play the card today.
Maybe he wants to hang out with us.
Who
wouldn't want to hang out
wouldn't?
with us?
That better question
Not
is
for us, who
wouldn't?
does? You refuse to look at that. What are you, like, afraid of that thing?
I'm not a big fan of dolls. Masks, dolls, clowns, owls. I kind of stay away from stuff like that. I shy away.
If you're wondering if it's easy to get through a day if you're Anthony Stabile, the answer would be it's not.
There are physical and mental obstacles both. I mean, most would think more would be physical, but
It's a toss-up. It's a dog
it's a
fight.
photo finish. Johnny I couldn't even call it a photo finish.
Race number 1. Race numero 1. I guess the horse to beat here is the horse you have on top. I don't know. Isn't Rosie's Peach? Wait a second. How do you not have Rosie's Peach 1, 2, 3, 4 in here?
What am I this horse's form has tailed off considerably, Andy.
Anthony, did you look at the field carefully?
I've looked at everything, yeah.
I'm not convinced you have.
I have.
Did you not print Rosie's Peach or something? Did
No,
you
she's
think
right
that
there.
9?
She's on the Wish for Magic.
Okay. So her form has tailed off badly. She had a 4th on a muddy seal track, Mr. I'm Afraid of Wet Tracks, and you don't think her other 2 dirt races, which would blow this field away, are worthy of having her in the top 4. I just want to be clear on this.
I want to be clear on it, too. I do. I like the fact that we're battling in the first. I don't know off of the first 2 dirt races why she was in for a tag. They went to the turf.
Because she's not fast enough to win a maiden special weight, and Dom Escatino's not such a fool that he's going to continue to run her in races that she can't possibly win. Well, that's why she's running for a tag. This is what Dominic's trying to do. He's trying to run her in races she can win. She didn't do enough running in those races to belong in maiden special weights. That's why she's running for a tag. Okay. Somebody running a claimer for 40?
And now she's got a stretch.
Okay.
I don't like her.
Okay. It's a hard horse to leave off your top 4, I guess, but I mean, I don't quite understand where you're going here, but all right. I mean, you've got the 2 second, so I don't know. I'm not. What? Amity Island. What are we talking about? Chad Brown here?
I mean, Chad Brown, this filly's got more of a dirt pedigree.
She does.
You know, his numbers, the numbers in the 2 years, I mean, when he drops, he drops with a purpose, especially the maidens. I mean,
well, this is a horse going from a turf race to a dirt race and stretching out from a sprint to a route. So you're still talking about Chad Brown, and I've got the horse second. Said first time out, I'm going to run this horse in a turf sprint, and now he's running in a dirt route second time out.
I got it. Listen, I completely.
It's a complete deviation from what he initially did with this horse, and he's not a guy that enters horses haphazardly.
You and I talked about, and I don't believe I was on the 10th, but I think you and I talked about it the day before at Belmont, just why this horse is running on the. This was a very little turf pedigree.
But Chad Brown does well in those cases.
He does.
Excuse me. This was a Rick Dutrow trained dam, actually, and Jory wasn't bad. I like the 3 Poncho Song simply because there's 3 horses that I think are probably the major players near. The 3, 8, and 10. I think the 10's the horse to beat. The 8's the fuzzy you sort of have to use, but will be overbet because of connections. And the 3 Poncho Song comes out of a much better race, a very strong maiden race. Broke over a length slow, was way, way back in there, just completely stayed out of the race and lost all chance whatsoever. And actually, you know, closed enough ground for me to say in a field like this horse just seems like a logical other player, 4-1 morning line. I think the public will probably see it that way. I found it to be a very hard race to find anyone to make a case. What's your case for Bellamy's Party Girl, who you have second?
Just stretching out a couple of races up at Finger Lakes on a fast track, namely to race 2 back. She made up some ground late in the game.
So why is she more likely to stretch out than Rosie's Peach, who you don't like at the distance?
She's going to, they might both stretch out, but one of them's going to be 3 times the price as the other.
Okay, but you don't have a 10 in the money.
The other one's dropping
That's
down.
a tough
She's
horse to
facing
leave out of top 4.
the 2's dropping down. She's facing state breds for the first time. Now I know she probably faced a lot of state breds up at Finger Lakes.
You think?
For the guy that always looks for the price, you're making an awful strong case for an 0-4 maiden.
No, I'm not making a strong case for Rosie Peach. I think she's kind of a reckless horse to leave out of the top 4.
Okay.
That I'm not saying I would run to better. She's absolutely the horse to beat in this race, and you don't even have her in the top 4. So I assumed you had like a strong reason not to like her.
I think her form's tailing off. I don't like the fact that they went to the turf and then dropped
But
her
you're
in
the
for a
guy who
tag.
uses the case of wet tracks as major excuses for horses.
Why did they go to the turf and why did they go in for the tag?
Because they were
Andy?
trying well, they went for the tag, as we explained, and I think everybody knows out there that she's too slow to win a maiden special weight. So that's that box.
Hold on
they
a second.
went no.
August at Saratoga is the same as a maiden special weight in December at Aqueduct?
Anthony, if you owned this horse, you would continue to run this horse in maiden special weights?
Yes. You want to know? I'm going to tell you why. You want to know why? The
Other
maiden
than being
special,
stupid,
the
you'll have
maiden
to give me a
special weight
reason.
pot is 60.
So what?
Let me keep running second and third.
She's
And
not
let me
running.
keep
She's
letting her
not
pay
even
her
running
bills.
second. She's running
She
third.
ran third and fourth.
She's running 50 and 45 buyers. She's not winning maiden special weights, and she's not keeping the boards. And you want to win with her. What is she? She's a homebred. Of course you're going to drop her. I think you're trying to fake a case for a horse that you kind of left out a little bit recklessly. But okay, fine.
Okay.
I don't get it. Maybe you have a story. This horse can't run
I
anymore.
don't have a story. Why is everything
Because
nefarious?
I know you have stories that you don't let on.
have
Because
a
we all
story.
know there's little stories
That's
that don't
incorrect.
get told.
That's wrong. I don't like that. And I don't like the fact that you try to push that on me. I tell everybody about every tip I get. I have no story on her. I just know this filly went to the turf, and then she dropped in for a tag. I want nothing to do with her.
She went to the turf because she's not good enough to win a maiden special in dirt, and Dominic's trying to exhaust all possibilities. And then she caught a muddy track last time and didn't run well. And given how well she'd run at a dry track, I think it's reasonable to suggest. I mean, you come up with wet track excuses that don't exist.
No, that
I
could
think it's
certainly be the
reasonable
case.
to accept.
That could certainly be the case.
Okay, so this case, it might be the case. Okay, race number 2 lost a major player, obviously, with a number 5 Princess Fawzy, a scratch for Linda Rice. I mean, I don't know. I thought she would be more forwardly placed than Palace Athenay, so I put her on top. With her out of there, I mean, I'm a little worried about the 6, My Candy Girl, wiring the field in here. But after that, Palace Athenay just found a field. How did she lose to her?
I scratched into her today, and believe me, I am not happy about it. But
You could have changed your pick and picked somebody else.
The problem is, when I went through the race, I literally had to use horses for 4th and borderline for 3rd that I don't like. So her and Princess Fawzy were the only 2
blame
horses.
the gods 4th here?
I just got done telling you I don't even like the horses I have 2nd and 3rd at this point.
5 Alarm Robin will probably beat her.
I mean, this became after the scratches.
It's a hungry field. I think there's an argument that the 6, My Candy Girl, is a dangerous horse, is a speed in this race, and that is something that Palace Athenay does not possess. Micro Million's a little bit dangerous because she broke a half-length slow, and she's a very good example in her last race of a horse completely losing position because of a slow break, and it wasn't Dylan's fault. The slow break just took her out of position, and she ends up considerably farther back than she likely would have been in that race, and she really lost all chance. I mean, she's probably the logical other horse in this race, I guess.
I have a 2nd, but I do worry that this is one. We've seen a couple of horses leave the Todd Pletcher barn now off the claim and actually perform okay. I'm afraid this might be one that...
But she had a viable excuse last time.
I guess. What happened to back against? Well, I guess it was the mud.
It wasn't turf.
I don't know. And
wasn't turf.
I'm very,
It was
very
turf.
right. Well, I'm very.
Well, you've got her second, and I do agree she's the second likeliest winner of this race.
This race gives me fits now because I scratch into a.
No, Palace out today may have but she's probably just found a field that
Yeah.
she almost sort of has to beat by default. She's just better than these horses and taking a realistic drop at the end of the year as turf season. And it feels like with some weather possibly coming tomorrow night, today and tomorrow could be the last days of turf racing in 2020. We'll see if that's the case at Aqueduct, that is. Race number 3. Race number 3. I mean, I am shocked that you don't have this horse, Singular Sensation, on top in this race. Now, I've got her second as well. You've always liked this horse more than I have. We'll take a look at her winning at Saratoga 2 races back. If she runs a race, she's just going to beat this field, isn't she?
I'm a big believer this is a 1-turn, 2-turn kind of thing. Her 2-turn races are much faster than her 1-turn race. And last time, I kind of feel like she's a little stakes face with that 73 buyer speed figure. I think she is much, much better around the 2 turns. Obviously, with a filly like her, you have to run her where the races are, in the races that are written, it's written at 1 turn, at a 1-turn mile. I think she's considerably better around the 2 turns.
I think that's voodoo, but okay. I don't think that makes any sense. She ran fine last time against horses that would be enormous favorites in this field. She got better at Saratoga, I think, is what really happened. Even with her buyer of 69, a sloppy track was fine. And you're talking about a race when she ran second with a 58 buyer in June. She was coming off a major injury and a 10-month layoff, so the fact that she didn't run particularly well and she improved in Saratoga is hardly that surprising, but okay. I don't believe in that stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. But okay, so you like the 4 Love and Love.
I do, because I do believe that she is a 1-turn mile kind of horse. She held some good form here earlier this year in the open starter and the.
Well, she won at 2 turns at Saratoga. What's the indication that she's a 1-turn, or she just ran well in those races? You think it's 1
Well, she's
turn?
running 15 buyer points faster
she
than she
improved.
did in the 2-turn races.
She improved, but she also ran 3 buyer points slower.
Well, this 3-day break really gets you going, huh?
No,
when you come
Anthony,
back?
I'm actually trying to have a logical discussion.
I am
while
too.
You're, no.
An off the turf race for now one is a 3, now
Anthony,
one is a 2 life.
she ran a 60 buyer at 2 turns at Saratoga. Then she went to Belmont 4 weeks later, not less, let me finish, and ran a 1-turn race and ran a 57 buyer. So no, she's not a better 1-turn. She's fine at 1 turn. She's a good horse. She's a logical horse, but I don't know why the 2-turn, 1-turn thing, how that comes into play here. I don't understand what the logic of that is.
You made this about her 2-turn, 1-turn.
You did. You said.
I said it about Singular Sensation.
No,
I
you said
to you,
this is a 1-turn
she
horse.
likes a 1-turn mile. Whereas the other,
I don't understand what that's relevance to the conversation here.
You don't understand what's relevant to the conversation that she comes out of a turf race and
Why
a
is
sloppy
1
track
turn,
race,
2 turn difference?
and now she gets a fast track.
Well,
because she's faster around 1 turn.
But she's not.
Okay.
She's not.
Okay.
Well, it's data backs it up.
Yeah.
She
60,
improved last year.
77.
60, 57 in her next start, Anthony. You have to use logic. It's fine that you like
She
her.
went from chasing a 23 and change opening
Anthony,
quarter
there is
to
nothing
being
in her
on
PB
easier
suggests she's
leads.
better around 1 turn.
Nothing.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, you got it.
Nope.
Okay.
Anthony, she ran a 62 in her next start around 1 turn. She ran a 56 in her next start around 1 turn. None of those races are any better than her 2-turn race. She got better last year.
But then she has 4 races that are?
No, she got better. I agree. She improved. She also improved at a time that Mike Maselli's horses were running very well. Wouldn't you agree with that? I'm not saying she can't win here,
Yeah,
but she
maybe
can.
she held her form for a while. I mean, she held her form for a couple of months. I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't.
Am Impossible, I don't know where she is, but Am Impossible looked like she was going to be a little bit of a player with the New York bred fillies. I don't know whatever happened to her.
Do you think this is a horse that might be a little better at Aqueduct, and maybe that's one of the reasons that Mike Maselli has waited for the last 3 months to run this horse?
Well,
I wonder if this horse, if I would use a better argument, she's more of an
She
Aqueduct
missed
horse.
2 months after the COVID break, so it leads me to believe that when she went to the bench on March 7th, it was not only because we didn't race until June 3rd, but she probably had a little something going on, and he had to stop on her. He brought her back on the turf to tighten her up for a race in Saratoga. Had to run 7 furlongs because there are no mile races in Saratoga, and she caught a sloppy track that day. She actually didn't run Bailey that day. That was the day let me take this call, rode the bias, and just kept on going.
Well, in a 5-horse field, she didn't run particularly well. She didn't run. No, you're not wrong.
She ran fine.
No,
you know?
I think she's dangerous in here. I don't think she's impossible in this race. I mean, she's going to have to re-find that form from last year. That's what worries me a little bit about her. I thought the 7 was probably much the worst to beat in here, and I just want to take a case that maybe my Roxy girl will wire the field. Now, it's funny. She's never run a mile. It's kind of amazing given how many races she's run. She's never run this far. But she is the controlling speed in this race, and one thing with Charlie Marquez, you know that he's going to send Speed Horse to the lead. He hasn't learned yet you're supposed to rate Speed Horse around here. So I thought he'd go to the lead with her. I don't trust her, no question about it, but she was way over her head last time, and she was also chasing a pace that fell apart. And I thought if you were trying to beat the 7, for me, Singer Sensation, I would prefer to do it on the front end. And I'm going to try to do it with my Roxy Girl. They're the main 2. You know, Puffery can win, but, we can watch my Roxy Girl in Love and Love. We've been talking so much, we skipped that replay.
And this is the race behind...
This is 2 races back behind Let Me Take It. You were talking about in the slop, actually.
Yeah.
See, my Roxy Girl was forced to chase this day and Let Me Take This Call, ran her big race. She's not going to have to chase today, and I thought maybe she could get comfortable on the front end. For me, it's 2 numbers. I want to use the 2 and 7. I really didn't want anybody else. Puffery is obviously okay, but she's not a winning type. And she won 2 times back because it was a weak 4-horse field.
Yeah.
But she obviously isn't impossible.
Yeah, stretching back out to the mile where she's had a little bit more success than her sprints. I don't know, I thought she'd be a little forward today as well.
She should be, yeah, she should be forward. I agree. Yeah, I don't disagree. We'll see what happens in race number 3. Race number 4. So, what do you do with Invaluable? We'll take a look at Invaluable running second to Mrs. Danvers, who ran the fastest buyer figure run, I believe, in America. We're tying the buyer figure for the Clark when she won our Cumley. This is quite a race. What do you do with the filly against the boys?
I think you have to use her. I don't think there's any way around not using her today. She's got plenty of speed. Jose Ortiz is going to utilize that speed. I think she's a player in here. I think she almost has to be. I mean, if she runs her last race, she's going to be right on the money. She runs her last race.
Yeah, she's going to beat this field.
Yeah. You know?
It's a very odd entrant. I guess that Pat Reynolds probably figured I can't find this condition for her with the girls, so I'm going to run her with the boys. And based on her last race, she's the worst to beat.
And she's going to be in front of this field.
Wow.
I don't know how much
you don't
that
think
helps
Miami? You don't think Lescano's going to go with Miami Mumbles?
I think he's going to sit right off of her, and I think
about Blood Moon.
Well,
Harry Hernandez supposed to go with that horse too, right? That horse has a lot of speed when he runs his races.
I think if Jose Ortiz aboard Invaluable comes out of there aggressive, I think he can get. I think he can get the front end to himself, and I think a lot of the connections will be thinking, well, you know, it is a filly against the boys. Maybe we just try and set up camp off of her, namely Miami Mumbles. I would imagine this race lines up 4-3, maybe a little Blood Moon trying to get involved, but I would think Invaluable controls on the front end.
Where did that last race come from with Invaluable?
Well,
frankly, I wondered where her race 2 back in the slop came from, and I think the initial thing you'd say was a slop, even though she hasn't run well in it before, but then she comes back and runs this huge figure in her last start. Where did it come from? Is she just suddenly, maybe suddenly she's like really good?
It's funny,
it's a little weird.
The 2 sloppy track races down south at Gulfstream Park, her form's completely turned around. Now, her first 2 figures weren't fast, but there was big improvement.
No.
Right? 54, 63, 74, 88. I mean, she's just improving leaps and bounds. And maybe she's a horse. You know, we talked earlier about Love and Love getting better. This is a filly that's, through the second half of a 3-year-old year, has just gotten better to the point where she ran that bang-up race behind a filly that came back and won by the length of the stretch.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to be shocked.
It's hard to leave her out. It's also hard to take her. I mean, David has her 8-5 on the morning line. She's probably going to be the favorite in here.
Well, off her last race, she's supposed to be favored. And you just take her last race at face value. And by the way, I'm not suggesting I have some reason not to believe it.
No.
She's just really stepped forward here, and I agree. And the other thing is, you know, it's hard to trust Fried Rice King in here, who may lose that sort of form, came from Pletcher. Got Blood Moon, a similar situation. Our country is a little bit interesting in here because the horse does have more of a dirt pedigree. The problem is George Weaver knows that. He knows the horse, the Constitution, and he's never made a move to run this horse. And even when this horse was running sort of mediocrely, now he's doing it when turf season is over. So now he's just sort of saying, well, let's take a shot and see if we can leave him here for the winter, because this is leave him here for the winter
to the point where he ran him for a tag. That's obviously how he's eligible for this race.
Right.
Before trying him on, like, before trying him on dirt, they ran for the tag. Now maybe they're thinking, well, he can't win on this preferred surface. Why is he going to win an allowance race on the dirt? But not even to give him a try, go to Monmouth,
No, I know.
a try out of town? Nothing.
Why not try here?
Yeah.
I mean, do something. I don't disagree. It's a little weird. And that's the problem. There's like the other thing about our country is he's not going to be much price. He's going to be 4-1.
Right.
And, you know, you kind of want a bigger price because I think you're supposed to respect George Weaver. Now, listen, horses fool trainers, and they're the first ones to tell you, but George has made no attempt until it's almost an act of desperation with this horse, because why would you want to bother to ship this horse somewhere for the winter? So they'll find out if it's worth leaving there. You know, I don't know if Tenderfoot's good enough, and I'm not in love with this pick by me, but I have a feeling that this pace is going to be honest in here. I think I'm not saying they're going to be flying, but I think it's going to be honest. And I know Tenderfoot beat a ridiculous field last time, no question about it. But he buried them, and it's not like his other races aren't that bad. And I think if you take out the 88 Buyer Fig for Invaluable, this horse fits perfectly in this race. And I just don't trust Invaluable to run back to
And
that.
Tenderfoot getting back to a fast track, you got to figure is going to help us, even though he won by 10 last time.
He's no better than a wet track.
Yeah, he ran slower than his fast track races. So.
And he had no shot in that two-turn race
No.
he ran first time for Charlie, and he didn't even run that badly. So maybe he's a horse that's getting better for Charlie Baker. I'm hoping for a little hitting. I don't love this pick. I'm not, you know, we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see what happens. This is a funny race, though, because you're right. Invaluable may just go and blow this field out of the water. If she runs her last race, she's going in all likelihood to blow this field away. Race number 5. I knew you would pick the same horse as me, but I couldn't resist. But we'll talk about Lovely Latkes, who may well be the favorite here for
Lucky Latkes.
the lucky, not so lovely, but very lucky Latkes. This is a good horse to bet against. This is a second place finish behind Kept Waiting, finally broke the maiden, finished ahead of Dancing Kiki. And before you take a short price on this horse, take a good look at Dancing Kiki's PPs. Are you sure Lucky Latkes will be better with less distance? And this is a horse whose performances are completely dressed up by trips. Draws inside, might work out a good trip here, and may very well win this race. But man, Lucky Latkes feels to me like a horse you're just supposed to be very skeptical about at a short price.
She's been one of my pets, and even I think she's, you know, she's a dicey proposition today for the simple fact that she doesn't have any speed. And now they're going to ask her to go 6. As opposed, you know, she was kind of, I don't want to say she was outrun, but she kind of wasn't in contention until they turned for home going 7.
But don't we see horses do fine closing these races?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, how good is she? You know, you've been saying this for a while. How good is she?
She's not.
And now, you know,
So why do you have her
to go 6?
Why Corded second?
Well, Corded's
She's slow as well.
another little pet. I'm hoping that the cutback and distance actually helps her. She's one that does have a little positional speed early.
Not much.
I know, but I'm just hoping Jose's a little aggressive with her, kind of puts her in the game, and obviously she's not going to be on the front end, but
I guess
she has a little more speed. And I've always been, I don't know, she's always been an interesting filly to me. I thought she's had some tough goes of it, a tough go of it on closer to the front end. Maybe it's just the distance thing. She can't go that far.
Yeah, maybe she also has run 2 lousy races in a row. One was dirt, though, but maybe. Lucky Lizzie, I'll let you talk about her. We'll take a look at her race back in November of last year when she finished 3rd. Logical or second off Alea.
I mean, she runs her race as a 2-year-old against these horses today. She's supposed to win coming back quick. Couple of weeks for Bill Mott. Dropping in for the tag, going back to what you would think is the preferred surface. Not much else to say for me here, Andy. If she comes back to that race as a 2-year-old, I mean, her 2-year-old figure beats almost all of these horses now as older horses.
No, I don't disagree. I thought she ran fine. This was an okay race she was running in. Fracturization's not bad and would be a heavy favorite in this race. And, you know, you can say, well, why are they dropping? I don't know. Eventually I'll get this frog out of my throat. And this is the end of the turf season and a horse that took a year to get back to the races. What are they supposed to do?
Obviously can't run on the dirt, and you're not going to ship her down to Florida.
And at the end of the day, she's not, right, she's no superstar. This is just putting a logical horse. I wouldn't be shocked if she ends up favored in this race by post time. I thought she was a little logical.
She probably should be, right?
Well, I mean, I understand. I think she's much the worst to beat in here. I kind of agree with you. I wonder if they'll fall for Lucky Latkes. Clamont's won a lot of races lately in the whole thing. I think Kiss and Run's a little bit interesting in here. She at least got a little more in the game last time out, first time for Rob Atras. And she was also running against open maidens, and these are maiden claimers. This is a much softer spot than she was in last time. So I actually thought she fit in this race fairly well.
Yeah,
I was going to
maybe.
use 12s and 11s mostly in here, but I don't have a big knock on the 12 Lucky Lizzie. She seems just very, very logical.
Yep.
Late pick 4, late pick 5 kicks off in race number 5. It also ends the early pick 5. The late pick 4 kicks off race number 6. Take a quick break.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at the Big A. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6.
For details on the Empire 6 and mandatory payout dates, visit nyra.com/Empire6 today.
Did you miss us? We missed you. You missed them?
I always miss them.
I'm trying to remember who won that 6th race on Saturday. That's a good question.
I can't remember who won that race. Did I make a pick? I came back and made a pick 5. Oh, that was the race where the other Pletcher, the horse I had the big push on, ran no good. Who won that race? The 2-year-old. Oh, Barker.
Well, that horse was live.
He was live, but he was also 5-1 in a race with 3 other 5-1 shots. A Pletcher tip.
But he was
the
a first-time
Chadwick
star.
coming
There
from
was
Monmouth.
live. There was nothing going on in that race. No.
Right, but you're going
We're
4B.
trying to figure out because that Empire 6 was taken down on Saturday. Of course, it's a mandatory giveaway this Saturday coming up. Obviously, it was hit last week.
And Hawaiian Noises was
So
tough.
race number 6. You got Dreams of Tomorrow on top. Go ahead.
I do. This horse ran one time on the turf. It was off the.
Thanks for that.
It was off the August break, a little 2-month
Thanks for
break.
that.
Sorry?
Well, you're regurgitating the PPs.
No, I'm just listening.
I'm just bringing it up.
Horse had a the horse had a strange trip.
What was strange about it?
Well, if you believe the time, they went a fast opening quarter at a time where that turf course over at Keeneland was starting to play.
I
like
didn't
a
look at
highway.
Trackus, but okay. What about the trip?
I'm sorry?
What about the trip?
I don't know. It's kind of I kind of felt like Florent Giroux just had her bottled up a long way. Where I would have probably turned her loose a little
He
earlier.
didn't have her bottled up at all, actually. She was inside in the first turn. He actually took him out into the middle of the track. He wasn't bottled up at all in that race.
Throttled down is what I should say. I felt like the horse. He was kind of fighting him a little bit.
Well, I'm a little skeptical of it the first quarter because the horse got a little rank on him if you watch the race, actually. Honestly, I just think it's very simple. Jose Ortiz is supposed to put this horse in the lead.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't know why you would want to try to rate this horse. This horse is faster than the other horses in the race.
If you watch that
I
first
would just
turf race,
go
you
to
don't
lead.
want to rate this horse today. You want to just turn this horse loose today.
I think if you also look at this field,
Yeah.
you don't want to rate her. She's faster than horses like My Boy Patty and American Piper. Just go. Just put her on the front. Put him on the front. I don't know
That's what I would do.
Just put him on the front end. That's what I would do with him. I'm a little sick of this horse, frankly. Horse going to take money is High Tide. We'll take a look at High Tide second last time. I'm a little skeptical of this race. To be fair, Compliant probably should have won this weekend. I don't know necessarily makes that race that much better. What concerns me, and this horse is going to be a short price, I think, 1 3/8. I wonder if this horse got better with more distance. Not that the race before to mile 16th was terrible, it was much better competition.
Yeah.
But I wonder if this horse might have improved with more distance.
The race 2 starts back was a crawl fest on the front end. It was his first start in 13 months.
But why wasn't he in the front end?
And we talked about that day on Talking Horses. We thought this was to be forwardly placed, and he was out the back. And then last time stretching out, and I kind of agree with you. I put this horse second today, but distance was probably his friend last time out. I don't know how tough this bunch is, and maybe he's a horse that needed the race off the year plus layoff, cuts back now to the 9. I don't know. I mean, he's a player, but David has him 5-2. He might even be shorter now. I thought Amano was going to take some money. He came out, so he's probably going to be shorter. I don't know. I don't have my program. I don't know what Amano was on the morning line, but I figured High Tide will be even shorter now. Amano had to be like 5-2 or 7-2, right?
I doubt that.
Oh, okay.
Doubt that. He was 9-2.
9-2. Okay.
Yeah, High Tide's fine. He's fine. I prefer the 7-0. I really like Bay Street Money. We'll take a look at Bay Street Money's last race. Bay Street Money was running here on opening weekend when the rail was the place you had to be on the turf. And while Johnny Pump found the rail for much of the running, This horse was never inside. It was 3 to 4 wide on the first turn and 3 wide in the second turn, and yet never stopped running behind winner's back, who was able to take advantage of the gold rail. And to me, it's very simple here. Bay Street Money is just way, way, way the horse to beat. If he runs back to this race on a fair turf course, he's a very likely winner in here. I was worried that Dreams Tomorrow could wire the field, so I put him second. I don't want anybody else. I think it's very clear that Bay Street Money may be favored, should be favored, and if he runs his last race and gets a fair trip, he's an extraordinarily likely winner of this race.
Okay.
I thought it was fairly cut and dry. Race number 7, I thought was a wildly difficult race. I know you and I end up on the same horse. I thought this was a super, super tough race. There is supposed to be some pace in here, though, isn't there?
Supposed to be some pace.
Skylar Scramjet and Big Mountain and Flowers for Lisa. If there isn't an honest pace in this race, I give up.
And for a horse like Hammer and Aimer, with the speed in here.
Do you know Aimer? Is Aimer a person?
I don't.
Is that Aimer?
I have Aimer or Aim. I think it's Aimer.
Is he hammering?
I don't know. I don't know who it is though.
You should find out. You know a lot of these things.
I don't know who it is.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I interrupted for an important conversation.
A lot of the speed in here is suspect, right? The Skylar Scramjet want to go a mile. Big Mountain got gifted the lead last time out.
Yeah, there were some clever rides in that race.
Flowers from Lisa. You know, after the upset.
For Lisa. They're
3
for
starts
Lisa.
back.
The Flowers, if they were from Lisa.
Flowers for Lisa. Yeah, so we got to find something for you to do on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, man. We got to put a
Right, I rarely challenge your nonsense.
I'm going to call Maggie.
I rarely challenge your nonsense.
Maybe you need a ring bit or something.
I rarely challenge your nonsense.
There's just a lot of suspect speed in here. And this horse, you know, he's dropping. He's dropping as well. But if you were to assign class in here, it would probably be Flowers for Lisa, and it would be him.
Well, Flowers for Lisa concerns me a little bit because I think her form may be declining. She was particularly bad.
Yeah, he was no good.
And that kind of worries me. And with Big Mountain and Skylar Scramjet, who are faster horses. Listen, one thing I'll say about Skylar Scramjet, Rudy knows this is a mile, and he's going to try this. Big Mountain has been successful going long before, so we'll see. And he's got to go. Skylar Scramjet is going to try to stalk him. You've got him third. I probably should have had him somewhere in there. I've got some love for him. I wanted to pick. I thought about picking Durkin's Call because I've been waiting for this horse to get an honest pace to close into. I just don't know if he's good enough, but at least he finally gets a pace. I'll be using him. Maybe I should have taken a shot and thrown him on top. Hammer and Aimer, I just thought he was a better horse, been running against better horses. I just thought he fit a little bit, a slight drop down here. Should get a pace to run at, should get a good trip, but he had a good trip last time. Didn't do that much running. What about Heavy Roller?
That's Rob. I was just about to say the same thing to you. What about Heavy Roller, who, if the pace is going to help Hammer and Aimer, it's supposed to help him, right?
Yeah, I think he can win. We both got Runabout a little bit in there.
I think Runabout. Now, Runabout's the kind of horse that has some tactical position where if it heats up a little bit, Runabout could be the first one to come calling. We've seen Farron Peterson in limited engagements be a little bit aggressive and put these horses in the game early. This race
I wouldn't want to move too soon in this race.
I wouldn't either, but Runabout could be the one where they turn for home, who kind of inherits the lead and has to hold off.
Got such a good trip last time, though, and I thought this field was tougher, but he's not impossible. I don't disagree. This was a very tricky race, and the problem with it is you really don't know how it's going to be run. And even though there are 3 significant speeds signed on around that here, that usually means a slow pace, and somebody else is in front.
Runabout's race here in February actually isn't that bad. I know it was for 16, but ran into Curlin Road and Candy Promises, who, that was a salty enough 16, and didn't get a pace.
He has to run better to win this race?
Would have to run better, but you'd have to think he's going to get a little bit of a better pace, a little bit of a quicker pace in front.
Well, maybe sitting just on top of a slow pace was good for him that day.
Maybe.
Race number 8. I want to start out the conversation, race number 8, talking about a horse that I don't like at all. You've got him third, and I think a lot of people will like him, and that's Wild William. Look at his last race. Listen, the Barn won a couple races. They're back in action. The problem is that he won this race because the other speed completely failed to get out of the gate in here. So he found himself absolutely waltzing along on the lead. Now, I think there's a fair argument when somebody says, well, why don't you think that could happen again today? It might. I don't like this horse. I think he's meeting many more interesting horses today Maybe he gets to front and he'll just keep wiring the field. I won't be shocked. I don't have a good feeling about this.
I don't
I think
disagree
he's
with
totally
anything. I
dressed
don't
up.
disagree with anything you just said, but
He
he's
could
now
fall
shown the last 2 times when he's had things his own way, he's gotten the job done. So I'm playing pick 4s, pick 5s. I'm not letting this horse beat me.
No,
Do
I
I
don't.
want him at 5-2 in a win pool? Probably not.
That's fair.
Probably not. But you know, you like horses like Hammer and Aimer and run about in a race before, and you can try and get a price home. If you're going to spread and use a horse that's going to take some money, it's a lot different than betting them in a win pool.
But isn't your horse supposed to be forward here? Because even though Our Destiny, and I'll let you talk about him, even though he doesn't really show necessarily overall that kind of speed, when he got good, he showed big speed. So why wouldn't they want Eric Cancel to be aggressive with
I
him
do
today?
want, well, the number one you just said, you know, Eric Cancel's on this horse. He's not the most aggressive rider in the room.
But don't you think they're going to tell him to be aggressive?
The blinkers were first time when he wired the field at Saratoga, and I wonder if it just woke him up. Now, last time he went back to the dirt, and he has not run well on the dirt, and he got beat 100 lengths, proverbial 100 lengths.
He's not a dirt horse.
No, he's not a dirt horse, obviously. But
Is this a Wayne Potts play?
I mean, I'm using him for Wayne Potts, but I'm also using this. I mean, look at his one race with the blinkers, Andy, on the turf. I mean, it's a good race. I don't think he'll be in front in here. I think he'll have a target. But
Does it worry you, though, the only win he has is wire to wire?
it does. It does a little bit, yeah. But I want, you know, to me, there's not a ton of speed in here. I think Our Destiny and Wild William only really have to worry about each other. So in a race like this is what I'll tend to do. I'll gravitate towards the speed. Even put a horse like Dan Fusi, who has speed going long, maybe be in the first one to inherit. I thought it was those 3.
I hate Dan Fusey in here.
I know
think
you
he'll
do.
take money. I think his form has been awful lately. I thought he was atrocious 2 races back. I know last time he got involved in a pace and he was off the rail, so I will give him an excuse for his last race.
I think the cutback could help this horse today.
I don't want cutbacks in the turf. They just don't win. But maybe that Brad Cox magic will really work. I thought there was a very logical horse in the number 10 on the couch who I think is going to very much appreciate the cut back to from 7 furlongs to 6 furlongs. I think if you look at his races, he's a better 6 furlong horse. You watch his race 2 back. He didn't finish. He got there and he didn't finish. And I think this cut back to 6 will really help. So I thought On the Couch was, in my opinion, actually kind of the horse to beat in this race. I have to bet on Tiergan. And we'll look at Tiergan's last race because this was on the turf. He doesn't really have a lot of pedigree for turf. And it was sort of odd he was in this race. This horse ran. He's down on the inside right now and buried sort of down inside. 2 is outside and those are the Clark silks. That's the winner of the race. So right there he got a little bit shuffled. And he lost about a length or so, and now it just gets much worse. He's completely and totally shuffled out of the race. He's gone from being right inside the horse who's perched in 5th to being behind him by 4 or 5 lengths because he got completely shuffled out. Now, he did save ground. I will say that. It's not the rail was a big advantage, but he did save ground. Angle's out. This horse put in a little bit of a burst here to do some running. Now, maybe you want to say, well, he hadn't done much running. He's supposed to run. Well, I don't know. He's not supposed to really be a turf horse. But I think he was. And I think this horse ran when you consider the way this race played out. And the other thing about Tiergan is, I kind of wonder if he's better shorter than he is longer. So
I don't disagree with that.
He showed he could handle the turf, running at the end, after having that trip, and he could have been second in that race, or third at the worst, much, much closer. And now he goes 6 furlongs, which I think is a better distance for him. I thought he was a very interesting horse in here. I'm shocked that he's not in your top 4.
I thought he was interesting, too. I will say this about him as well. He has obviously plenty of dirt form. So this isn't an instance where Mott's saying, oh, well, the turf season's ending, New York bred, I got to run this horse. This is kind of giving you the inclination that Mott wants to run him on the turf because he can run him all winter on the dirt up here. So if you like him today...
Well, I think you want to give him another chance in the turf after his last
turf.
race, and this is the race that came up into sprint, and I don't think they're caring. I don't love him, but I think he's a very interesting horse. He actually did some real running last time out, and I'm not convinced that sprinting shouldn't be what he wants to do. It's a fun race as the turf season is getting ready to wind to a close. Race number 9 closes out today's card. 9 race card, not 10. 9 tomorrow, 10 on Saturday. It's Carmile's last race. I think that we were in that with miners' hats on.
No, 4:17.
Yeah, sunset's 4:25. And it's supposed to be maybe a dreary day. So like I said, I think they'll be wearing miners' hats for that race. We should get those. So here's the horse I think you have on top, and that's Remo. What is it? How would you pronounce this? You're the track announcer here.
I would. I'm the bad. I'm Johnny. I'm not the track.
You're the track announcer here.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I think that would be interesting. I would go with Ramon.
I don't want to call the races.
I would go Ramon. This is when Charlotte Webley was 1 to 100 and was making figure eights through the lane, and Ramon almost pulled a pretty big upset at 12 to 1 and change.
Beat the rest of the field by a lot. One thing I will say about this race was that the rail was possibly a real edge that day at Belmont. So I do think this horse may have moved up on the trip, but I don't have a problem. I guess my only problem is where this horse been for 5 months.
Yeah, right.
That's really my only knock. I guess Grape Therapy's the other horse. You can't really use the wet track as an excuse for Grape Therapy because the horse ran well on a wet track first time out. And that was kind of a goofy race that she was in, but it was also a race that sort of fell apart, and she actually held in fairly well. Blinkers on, first time dry track for Grape Therapy, so I know they were the two horses. You and I just flip-flopped them in a different way. I'm going to use the one Mrs. Image in here, though. I actually think she's a little bit interesting. She really improved last time out, first time in the dirt. And in this field, why can't she win this race?
And it was first start in 5 months. So that could have, having the race under her belt now, coming back in a month. Yeah, I thought she's only 5 to 1 on the morning line.
I mean, where else are you going to go in here?
Right.
Love Me Tomorrow is the morning line favorite.
Look, I think when you start to get into December and you have horses like this, she's going to find the field. We're not going to pick her, but she... All right, so hold on a second.
Anthony?
We haven't lunch bet in a long time.
She's found the field.
December 3rd.
No, I'm not betting on that. She's found her
Not
field.
today.
I understand what you want to bet. She's found her fields. My favorite race of hers was the August 22nd race when it was a big speed track, and she absolutely walked in the front end, and she still stopped top of the stretch. She has put in a series of some of the most embarrassing performances by a maiden claimer that takes money that I've ever seen. Look at the number of times she's been favored in a short price.
And this is the conversation from earlier about Dom's filly, okay? She's never run. This year, she has not run in a maiden special weight race. And this filly's earned over almost $51,000 running second, third, and fourth.
What does that have to do with Dom's horse?
In the maiden claiming races.
Nobody's claiming the horse for 40. The horse ran for 40 as a homebred.
What I'm saying is you can
Anthony,
earn,
don't keep backing up your horrendous opinion in today's
She paid for herself.
Don't keep.
A horse like Love Me Tomorrow has paid for her keep for the year. Think about that.
Not really.
Sure.
No.
Yes, really.
No, not really.
40,000. Take the 10% away for the jockey and the trainer. 40,000. She paid for her year. But this is what I mean. And this
But Anthony, she paid for a year. She's hit the board this year 8 times out of 10 starts. Dominic's horse isn't rated to hit the board 8 out of 10 times. You can knock Love Me Tomorrow. No, Anthony, you're making a preposterous argument for a bad leave out in the first race today.
Hitting the board is not the worst thing in the world.
You're making a preposterous.
I
I didn't say it was. When did I say it wasn't? But what does that have to do with you leaving out a horse who's the horse to beat in the first race out of your top 4 in a terrible field?
Okay, we'll see.
I know. You must have some story. This horse can't put
Stop saying that.
I don't trust you.
I don't have a story.
Then it's just a horrendous leave out.
Okay.
And you could keep coming up with as many concocted reasons why it wasn't as you want.
I don't have a story.
You should write like a story. These are all my reasons.
If I had a story that I didn't want to tell,
what are you going to say when this horse runs first or second in the first race today? I was wrong?
I don't. Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I've said it before.
Just go on Twitter and say, I was wrong.
Say,
I was wrong.
Okay, so if you're that confident, I'd say she don't finish 1, 2, 3.
I'm not that confident. Okay, I'm happy to bet you 2 lunches on that. We're at 50. Okay.
2 lunches, she doesn't finish 1, 2, 3.
Okay. 2 lunches. Okay, that's good. I got a lot of equity on that. You think she'll pay $4 to show? Do you think she's going to pay $4 to show?
No.
What do you think she rates to pay to show? 280?
Yep.
I got the best of that. That's all I care. I just want to make bets my entire life. I got the best of it.
Okay.
You don't? You just want to make bets your whole life. You have the worst of it. No, I think right there we got our answer. You need to head over to Naira Bets where you will get the best of it. By going to NairaBets.com, you will be supporting racing in New York, and you'll also be a member of Naira Bets. We're going to start you off with a $200 match bonus. We will match with $200 your initial deposit if you use the promo code MATCH200. Before we get to some of the many wonderful things you have on Naira Bets, let people know you need to be on Naira Bets to play this challenge. So there you go, right away.
2 seats.
$500 buy-in and 2, this is an additional cash prize, but also 2 NHC seats, the first 2 finishers heading out to Vegas. You know, I had a real question about that going out to Vegas.
I think it's August 27th to 29th.
So is that Travers Day? Theoretically be Travers Day?
could be.
You know, my friend Paulie won this once. If he were to get a seat, would he leave Saratoga on Travers weekend and go to Las Vegas?
I think I want to say that's what's those dates are what's ring. I mean, no, it can't be 7, 8, 9. That's Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
You were in Saratoga?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. How do you not know? You know everything.
I want to say that's what I read.
No, you may be right. I thought I remember
that would
Nick
be right. That would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So maybe somebody's telling us on Twitter also to let people know.
2%.
2%. Play through the app only, and you will be able to get an extra 2% on Thursdays.
And you're not waiting for that till the end of the month. That's going in your account within 2 days.
I need it right away.
48 hours. I'm just letting you know. Sometimes these people see rebate. They figure that on the first of the month when they get their rebate, it goes in.
I think of Breaking Away. You've seen the movie Breaking Away, haven't you?
Yeah.
Refund. It's a great movie.
It's rebate.
Refund.
Not a refund.
It's a great movie. We done? You ready? Let me ask you a question. You look at the stakes for Saturday yet?
I did.
Who do you like in the Remsen? I know you're picking Mott. Foy? Is that
She's in the
Demoiselle.
She's in the Demoiselle.
You're picking her.
Yeah, I'll
over
probably
Mott.
pick her.
Of course.
But Mott, I mean, yeah, she got 2 good races in a mile. I'll probably pick her.
They're one-turn races. It's a two-turn race.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't that go against everything you believe in?
I can't. There's no 2-turn form. I don't remember if there's any 2-turn form to go off of. I was talking to Ryan Martin about the Remsen, a few of those horses. We have a field of 5 in a Remsen.
We've actually going to officially change his name to Ryan Martin Naira.
I think
That's what it says in his Twitter account. That's his official. I think he's going to legally change his name to Ryan Martin Naira.
I think 3 of the 5.
Maybe he already has.
I think 3 of the 5 have 2-turn experience in the Remsen. Known Agenda, of course, one here going 2 turns.
You really think he'll be favored in there?
Kelly, I think he has to be. It's Tom Pletcher. Come on,
Okay,
man.
he won a maiden race. The other 2 ran 1, 2, and a stake. David has him the favorite. I hope he's favored. I think it's a good bet against.
He'll be favored. He will be the favorite.
That's it. You should just no real thought to. You're just not even.
He'll be the favorite.
concerned. Okay, he'll be.
I'll bet you as many lunches as you want on that.
I
He'll
didn't
be the
say
favorite.
I wanted to bet. I asked you if you thought he'd be the favorite.
Yeah.
I didn't say he wouldn't
I think
be.
he'll definitely be the favorite.
A point of conversation.
Yeah, I just think
You're very aggressive today. You are. You are. You're very aggressive today. Anyway, Johnny I. Up next for the reprise. The
This
scratches and
guy,
changes.
man.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Aqueduct. Sunny skies, the temperature will be around 50 degrees this afternoon. The main track is fast, the turf courses are good, and there are no portable rails in use today on either the outer or the inner turf. Empire 6 Jackpot Carryover stands at $32,116. In today's first race, note that number 4, Gabby's Golden Voice, will be £1 over. In the second race, scratch 1, Mike's Girl, 3, Elegant Zip, and 5, Princess Fausia. Scratch 1, 3, and 5 out of the second. There are no changes in the third. Race 4 starts the Empire 6. Note that number 6, Our Country, is £1 over. In race 5, number 4, Dancing Kiki, runs with a hood again. Scratch the also eligibles 13, Home by 7 through the 16, Crick. Scratch 13 through 16. In race 6, scratch 1, Soul Candy, 2, Amano. Scratch 6, Corkman, and 10, Magic Mojo. Scratch 1, 2, 6, and 10 out of race 6. Seventh race, scratch the 1, Felix and Fabula, part of an entry. Scratch number 1. And note that number 8, Runabout, runs with a hood again. In the 8th race, scratch 13, Shandian through the 16, Roll with My Posse. Scratch 13, 14, 15, and 16. And in the 9th race, scratch 2, Empress Luciana, 4, Lemoncello, and 10, Live and 5. Scratch 2, 4, and 10. And note the number 6, Ramon, will run with a hood again. Main track fast, turf course is good. Empire 6 Jackpot Carryover is more than $32,000. The Aqueduct Opener is coming up in 27 minutes at 12:20.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an empire. It only takes 20 cents to take down an empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot. 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at the Big A. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6.
For details on the Empire 6 and mandatory payout dates, visit nyra.com/Empire6 today.
Need help in finalizing your picks for the next race? Check out the Track Master selections provided by Equibase on every U.S. thoroughbred and harness track on Naira Bets. Use these selections to get quick expert advice for professionals in the business. Check out the thumbs up graphic next to the pick and the wager pad and scroll down for more details on the horse. Track Master selections available on Naira Bets and the Naira Bets app. No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.